Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Tomasi, Marketing Manager at Comtrend, and today I wanted to give you a quick 10-minute brief introduction to something you may not have heard of before, OpenPON. OpenPON is a new way to deliver fiber, and it's something we would like you to consider when building out your future fiber deployments. And it's something that you'll likely hear more and more about as a new growing trend in this industry. So let's get started. So what is OpenPON? OpenPON is exactly the terminology as you see it. Open PON. It delivers on the promise that the service provider is empowered to choose best-in-class components for your organization's fiber broadband solution, giving you the freedom so that you don't need to be tied to a single enclosed ecosystem. If you think about it, it's a natural evolution from what you see today. Closed systems have become technology islands, forcing service providers into limited competing options, specific supply chains, limited channel options, and have removed competing against each other. The reality is that a lot of service providers understand one size does not fit all, and it limits their ability to compete. Yes, there are service providers that want ease of use and one size fits all. But if you could choose, wouldn't you choose to pick your own network and components, switches that fit your particular situation, your own competitive strengths, unique customer base, and your own market? So OpenPON basically says, let's separate all the pieces you need and let you pick. And that's a new thing in this industry, and you'll see it more and more. So what's the core of it? Well, the core of it is ultimately that there is a transceiver, an SFP plus OLT pluggable that you can plug into any switch with an SFP plus port and transform it into an OLT. You may ask, okay, so great, OpenPON, but is it really real or just a concept? Is it really something that big or is it just starting? The answer is no, it's not just starting. So what you see here is a list of companies like AT&T, Charter, and more that have jumped on and basically supported this concept of an open OLT on a stick. And for many of you, you've seen articles discussing open architectures, but is this a real trend happening in our telco space? People like AT&T are examples of tier ones that have had it implemented already with tens of hundreds of thousands of subs. That's exciting. So you need to know more about it because it's time to bring this technology to rural telcos as well. The OpenPON MicroPlug can work with any switch, and it replaces the need for the more cumbersome OLT chassis. The benefits of that are clear. Chassis-based OLTs are often larger in physical footprint, at a higher cost, and require upfront commitments by the service provider. For example, if you have a cabinet which is limited in space, a chassis-based OLT might be too large. An OpenPON microplug is smaller and more flexible and scalable. You can plug it in and scale your services by just adding another one into the switch. And if you need to downgrade, then you can just pull it out and put it somewhere else in another switch or in another community you are servicing. That's the exciting part of this solution. You now have options, providing scalability and flexibility. So that is part of the benefits of this OpenPON solution. So when is OpenPON a good fit? OpenPON is a great fit for greenfield applications where service providers have a DSL to fiber migration, a new build out, an acquisition or new customer region, or if you're a new service provider in general. This is a new, easy to deliver solution that can be used to make you more competitive as you enter new deployments. This solution can also work in brownfield situations where you already are invested in a traditional chassis-based OLT solution. Implementing OpenPON can be done in parallel to your active broadband network via a cap and grow option used in a separate MDU business scenario or in parallel to a current GPON implementation. So for example, if you already have a GPON fiber network set up in a community and you want to upgrade only one part of that community to XGS-PON, then this is a great option for you. You are able to leverage the existing fiber infrastructure you have invested in, such as cabling, splitters, and more. By using a coexistence module, or sometimes called a combiner, the service provider can seamlessly migrate to a higher level of service so that both GPON and XGS-PON can be offered to the community with much less hassle. So let's talk about what this really means, because at the end of the day, doing something new is all about dollars and cents, and that's where OpenPON shines. Here, we show a CapEx cost analysis with a 500 subscriber example, and it's about $78,000. Of course, we can't speak to your costs of what you currently pay or what you would pay for an implementation if you're using an end-to-end provider, but we challenge you to do the math. We've talked to many service providers, especially the rural service providers, and a lot of them are happy to see there is a lower cost option with OpenPON. That's because of two main things. One, because of the higher cost of a chassis-based solution, and two, because market competitive OpenPON-based ONTs are less expensive. But where OpenPON really shines is in the OpEx. In this case, the example here shows 500 subscribers for even less than $1,500 a year. You can see here that the cost savings are amazingly significant. To a software services model. That's why many of you have been asked, and in some cases, been strongly guided to purchase costly services that in many cases are not really necessary. And these maintenance and support costs are only going up, not down. That's because most closed systems have a higher cost model requiring different maintenance fees for support and services. This is important because greenfield deployments can especially be difficult ROI decisions. Now, with OpenPON and its lower CapEx and OpEx, you can implement greenfield deployments that you otherwise couldn't afford to do. We have had situations where we've talked to customers that have decided to go into a new area, but within that area, there's already competition. Say you have two other providers supplying fiber services into that service area, and now you're the third provider. If you want to win on pricing, but are using a similar closed end-to-end solution, how can you compete? Are you going to try and differentiate your solution with managed services, parental controls, or recurring revenue? That can be difficult. OpenPON gives you the option to compete with a much lower cost solution, so you can now go in and offer something different at a lower cost. That is an extremely compelling differentiator for you as you go into an area with multiple competitor overlays with broadband services in that area. So this is something you should consider when thinking about OpenPON. In summary, OpenPON is a new ecosystem whose time has come, and it's something you should consider in your decision process when deciding future fiber greenfield or brownfield deployments. It is easy to start and implement, and ultimately the CapEx and OpEx are much lower. So if you're interested in learning more, please reach out. You can contact me at the below information. Thank you very much for your time.